Q2 strong words delivered against the school district.
I would very much like to see a teacher who gets physically threatened not permanently reassigned. That's a horrible precedent to set.
Union president backing a teacher and warns a slippery slope after being reassigned due to social media post. Plus, what divides them connects them. We meet two Billings political organizers.
For me, it was good versus evil, not Republican versus Democrat.
I just want to bring light to everything and not bring judgment.
To see where common ground can be made on the heels of two major rallies. The MTN 430 News starts right now. And good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. I'm Andrea Lutz. Tonight, a Billings teacher's reassignment is sparking outrage and debate. School District 2 says it's not disciplinary, but the union president is calling that claim misleading. Union President Lance Edwards says the move came after a teacher made a private social media post about the death of Charlie Kirk, a post that later went public. School officials say the decision followed an investigation into distractions and safety concerns. Critics call it a slippery slope for free speech.
When you have a free speech issue like this, okay, a teacher who had private comments didn't have any way of anticipating this making its way back to the classroom. Right, to have that amplified by people who did want to amplify it and cause disruption.
3, 2, 1. And we will have much more on this situation coming up on the news at 5:30. It's a situation that exemplifies a heightened political climate, views dividing the country now more than ever. Tonight, we take a look at two political organizers in Billings, both deeply tied to their causes, not to see how they differ, but where their commonalities may lie and how the community can find ways to move forward. Our Isabel Spartz has their stories.
We are America!
Elizabeth Klarich often makes her voice heard in Billings.
It just fit my heart and my values.
As the event coordinator for the recent No Kings rally, she views actions by President Donald Trump as harmful.
We don't want a king. We truly want freedom to determine our lives and to have liberties and rights and justice for all.
But on the other side of the spectrum,
Anybody can go and protest. I personally think it's silly. We haven't had a king.
after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Kevin Moser was compelled to organize a gathering honoring the conservative activist.
There's a lot of people supporting the death, and that's not right for anybody.
Moser sees division in many aspects.
For me, it was good versus evil, not Republican versus Democrat. I do think that it comes way more on the Democratic side than the Republican side.
I am less inclined to look at the world or sides as being good and evil, black and white. In the moment, I just want to bring light to everything.
Both pushing to be involved for personal and community reasons. For Elizabeth, it was a second chance at life to help others.
I was a yoga teacher, then I had a stroke, then I had 3 years of vestibular rehab. Here I am helping people get active in their communities and stand up for democracy.
For Moser, it was a better future for his family. But where they differ on political issues, they also share similar values.
Political violence is never okay. It doesn't matter what a person thinks, what their ideology is.
I truly do believe Republicans are way more open to discussion than Democrats, but that's not saying all Democrats are evil.
It's two people here in Montana, both passionate for politics and a common hope that conversations are the start to finding common ground.
I truly don't see great things moving forward at where we stand right now. So again, open dialogue. Don't just hide behind a screen.
Find the common human compassion, empathy, and desire to be heard and loved, and then respect one another and be kind, and things can build for the better always.
In Billings, Isabel Spartz, MTN News.
A massive data breach could impact nearly half of all Montanans, and state officials want some answers. The state auditor's office is investigating a cyber attack that hit Blue Cross Blue Shield of Montana last fall, potentially exposing personal information for more than 4,600 people. The company says the data, including names, addresses, and billing details, were stolen over several months. The auditor's office says it was just notified weeks ago, a delay demanding accountability.
What I can do in the meantime is roll out these new cybersecurity initiatives and a statewide public awareness campaign so the Montanans can better recognize when they may have had their information disclosed and or when fraudulent actors are trying to defraud them.
Brown says the health insurance company could face a fine of up to $25,000 for not reporting that breach. Montana Congressman Troy Downing is joining a push to protect American ranchers after President Trump suggested the U.S. could soon buy beef from Argentina. 8 Republican lawmakers, including Downey, signed a letter urging the president to give American producers a fair shot to meet growing demand. They say U.S. ranchers deliver the world's highest quality beef, and importing meat from countries with lower safety standards could undercut their hard-earned reputation. And Downing says in a statement, quote, Montana beef is the envy of the world and a keystone of Montana's economy. Our ranchers take pride in their work, and our people crave the quality beef they know and love.
I just love having the Stockman Bank weather cam down in Park County, Wyoming. We look over towards Powell and Cody, and of course right around Hart Mountain as well. And a beautiful day there. Temperatures right now in Cody are sitting at 62 degrees, just a little bit of a southwest wind. After the strong winds we've had recently, it's kind of nice to have a break from that. High pressure areas building into the Rocky Mountain West, 60s and 70s all along the west coast, all the way into the central plains. But we do have some cooler air that's been settling here through the Great Lakes states today, where we've had some showers, isolated thunderstorms. But there is a disturbance that's starting to move into the Pacific Northwest. We're going to take a look at the forecast details. We'll pick it up from there coming up in just a few minutes. Your 7-day forecast.
It is now day 22 of the government shutdown, and there's still no end in sight. The Senate is expected to vote again tonight on a House-passed funding bill. But like the previous 11 times, it is likely to fail as Democrats hold out for certain health care subsidies and reversals to Medicaid cuts. Erica Brown has the latest from Capitol Hill.
On Capitol Hill Wednesday, House Democrats heard from Americans impacted by the government shutdown now entering its 4th week, including National Park Service employee James Jones.
My job is to keep the park safe and open for folks to visit. And during this shutdown, they're still open. And that's a problem because there's not enough staff to keep the park clean and to protect the resource.
During the meeting, Democrats called out House Speaker Mike Johnson for sending members home.
Day after day, Speaker Johnson has kept House Republicans on a taxpayer-funded vacation.
But Johnson placed the blame on Democrats.
This is now the second longest government shutdown of any kind ever in the history of our country, and it's just shameful. Democrats keep making history, but they're doing it for all the wrong reasons.
With no end to the stalemate in sight, Republican lawmakers are proposing a bill that would compensate some essential federal workers, like active duty military members, with a vote as soon as Thursday.
Quit holding my veterans hostage right now.
During a visit to the VA Medical Center in Washington, D.C., VA Secretary Doug Collins said veterans are also being impacted.
I have veterans who are getting out of active duty who are trying to get their employment. They're trying to get skills. They're trying to get their new job set up. They're trying to get the tools, which our VR&E, our vocational rehab and education folks are able to do. And guess what? Right now they can't do it.
Lines at food pantries across the country, including this one in Minnesota, have grown longer since the shutdown began. And with states warning the food assistance program known as SNAP could run out of funding come November 1st, the need is expected to grow even more. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Vice President J.D. Vance is leading a group of top U.S. officials in Israel to bolster the fragile ceasefire agreement with Hamas. While the vice president met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Tel Aviv. In response to a reporter's question, both Vance and the Prime Minister said the U.S. and Israel are allies and partners in their efforts in the region.
We don't want a vassal state, and that's not what Israel is. We don't want a client state, and that's not what Israel is. We want a partnership. We want an ally here.
Well, I want to put it very clearly. One week they say that Israel controls the United States. A week later they say the United States controls Israel. This is hogwash. We have a partnership.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will return to Israel this week to meet on Friday. 2025 may be an off year for national politics. No congressional seats, no White House race, but don't let that fool you. There's still plenty at stake this November. Joe St. George shows us why the next 2 weeks could shape the political landscape heading into 2026 and beyond.
2025 is considered an off year when it comes to national elections. Control of Congress is not up for grabs, nor is control of the White House. But that doesn't make Election Day 2025 meaningless. In fact, in many parts of the country, it doesn't feel like an off year at all. The White House or Congress may not be on the line this November 4th, but Election Day 2025 is still full of drama. There are governor's races, mayor's races, state Supreme Court races, and even a redistricting contest that could impact the entire country. One of the biggest fights for Democrats and Republicans is the election for governor in both Virginia and New Jersey. In Virginia, it's former Democratic Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger against the current Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears. In New Jersey, it's another former Democratic Congresswoman, Mikey Sherrill, against Republican businessman Jack Ciattarelli. Both races are already historic. New Jersey's governor's race is the most expensive ever in the state, and Virginia is guaranteed to elect its first female governor. John McCarthy advises Democrats across the country. Amanda Woollishen-Glass advises Republicans.
I think that people right now are looking for any indication about how the Trump administration is actually playing out with voters.
Because 2024 was such a disaster for Democrats, do you think Democrats need to sweep all the big races in November?
Well, Democrats need to do a lot of soul searching. In many ways, Abigail Spanberger and Mikey Sherrill present probably the best path forward for Democrats. It would be a pretty difficult thing for the Democratic Party to recover from losses in these places.
Do you think this election is about President Trump, or is this about local and state issues?
I think the Democrats are desperate to make it about anything other than the issues. And you just can't keep saying, well, no, Trump, Trump, Trump. It doesn't fly anymore. Last year, it was remarkable the amount of votes that the president received.
Other races to watch this November include mayoral elections. According to Ballot Ready, this year over 5,000 mayoral elections are taking place, with many of them occurring this November. But the race in New York City has generated the most national buzz. Zohran Mamdani is the Democratic nominee and is taking on former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's running as an independent. The Republican candidate is Curtis Sliwa. Because Mamdani is a self-described Democratic socialist and is leading in the polls, the logical question, is Mamdani the future of the Democratic Party?
I think it will have an impact. We potentially will have a socialist mayor of New York City.
I don't know that for the future of the Democratic Party, New York is going to be that informative when it comes to, how do we win in tough places?
And there are even more significant races happening this November 4th. In Pennsylvania, 3 state Supreme Court seats are up, and control could impact election rolls in the swing state for years to come. In California, a ballot initiative on a redistricting plan to benefit Democrats will go before voters, potentially impacting control of Congress. Joe St. George, Scripps News Group, Washington.